announcements. And now I wish to invite our ladies from Graz, Jelena, Čupić and Susanne Göttlich. They coming from the University of Music and Performing Arts, Graz, Austria, Archiv der Gegenwart, and the title of the presentation is Archives in the Course of Time, Preaching on Archival Collection in the Archiv der Gegenwart of the University of Music and Performing Arts, Graz.
So,
please.
Thanks. So, as you can see here, we elongated our very long title by adding the words project presentation to it, not just because we wanted to or we felt the need to, so yeah, but just because we wanted to. But while we were making our presentation, we had an idea for a further project or starting a new project, which is similar to our project Archiv der Gegenwart. But before we come to this project, or perhaps this idea, we want to, of course, state what the Archiv der Gegenwart is. So, the Archiv der Gegenwart, or the Archive of the Present, just translating it easy, was initiated by the Archive of the University of Arts Graz and was brought to life in cooperation with the Institute of Composition, Music Theory, Music History, and Conducting. The concept consists both of a practical and artistic, as well as an archival documentary part. It is a multimedia collection that aims to make contemporary composers and their work more visible and available to the research community as well as to the public. While we have holdings or repositories that are purely analog or digital, the Archiv der Gegenwart is an exemplification of a hybrid collection where everything from paper and other physical mediums to digitized material is present. Before we take now a closer look at the project homepage, which is part of our project itself, my colleague will introduce the initial idea behind the project.
So the starting point is the event series in Portrait, in which the work of composers at the University of Arts Graz is presented in the form of an individually designed portrait events with music, talks, and moderated discussion. This multimedia documentation of these events forms the foundation of the online platform Archiv der Gegenwart. After the portrait events, composers are asked to provide further archival materials such as music scores, sketches, manuscripts, program booklets, etc. to the university archive. These holdings are stored professionally and, if necessary, digitized. The archival aid relevance to the composer's life and work complete the collection on the website, but all of the material can be viewed and researched upon request. This kind of concept offers composers the advantage that, on the one hand, their life and work can be scholarly researched, and on the other hand, general conditions for archival rights ensure an adequate treatment of the material. Regarding the contribution of the scholarly relevant archival materials with the multimedia collection presented on the homepage, this project is challenging on more than one level. Not only the criteria of the digital era and data protection needs to be met, but the requirement of today's academic and research standards too. The mentioned challenges and their possible future solutions will be examined later on after the presentation of our homepage.
So going now to the homepage itself, first we have our project homepage, and the homepage is structured first in the documentation of these past event series and second in the separate composers collections, as you can see here. On each page dedicated to one event, photographs, flyers of the program of these events, and in some cases even the manuscript of the moderator are documented there, as can be seen at the last organized event page, which portrayed Richard Dünzer. So you can see here the photographs each, there's a flyer, the program, and the manuscript even. So, the collections of different composers are alphabetically ordered, as you can see here. Currently, only the collections of Gerd Kür, Bernhard Lang, Klaus Lang, Simon Steen Andersen, Jennifer Walsh, and Joanna Woschny can be viewed. Individual pages of other composers are currently in the making. At the beginning of each page, a short biography portraying the composer, his music, and his involvement with the University of Graz is given, but only in German for now, as the whole project homepage is currently only available in German. At each page, depicted materials that are stored in the archive and structured on one hand in the composer's artistic work, such as audio files or manuscripts or music scores, and the other hand on the documentation of their performances of the work, and therefore its public visibility and reception in print formats, such as concerts, concert programs, posters, newspaper reviews, but can also include photographs, as you can see here. A bibliography of the composer's work, or the composer's writings, as I would say, as well as academic articles and books about the composer complete the collection, and therefore the portrayal of each composer. Not only are the composers actively involved in the shaping of the personalized pages by submitting and by choosing which material they want to submit to the archive, but also by suggesting how the page should be organized. And then we come to a problem. From the beginning, the idea was that all pages should be organized or arranged alphabetically, but the reality shows that this is not applicable since it causes more confusion, as can be seen from Klaus Lang. That's not his, he's the as you can see here, the sheer amount of material which was submitted makes the overview difficult. Hence, the alternative solution would be to sort the page in chronological order, where users could follow the composer's development or his development through time and his music. The project homepage is always updated as the composers submit not only material after the portray events, but also in the following months and years. Therefore, additional work for archivists is to follow or to stalk their work online, sometimes even personally by visiting concerts, to ensure that the homepage is state-of-the-art. Connected to the project are not only challenges regarding the homepage, as you can see, but also occurring connection with the organization of the events, as well as the archival material itself. Yes.
Both interinstitutional planning as well as public relations and the organization of the concert evenings place multiple demands on all those involved. Also, the selection of the composer to be portrayed is not always easy. The resources of the teachers who supervise concerts are scarce. The continuation of the project is, in the current form, is therefore not planned indefinitely, but for about 3 years. The budget was also approved accordingly. In addition, a series of publications should continue to promote the project, which also meets the capacity limits of the archivists. Volume 1, consisting of 6 portraits, is currently in preparation. Now, regarding legal matters, it is a bit more complicated than we anticipated. It turned out that it is not possible to draw up a single contract which would be applicable for all composers. Rather, we must create individual documents capturing different agreements. The idea is, of course, to have as much as possible original material in the archive, but the agreements are influenced by previous actions of the composers. Some of them already sold the rights to their publishers, others don't want to give away their originals because of the anticipated future value, or simply because of the sentimental significance. In this case, we make copies and/or scans and give the material back to their owner. Other question that needs to be addressed is what will happen if the composer or their families would want to take back the material sometimes in the future. Possible solution would be to make a contract for amount of year, for example 10 or so, with the possibility of a renewal. Nevertheless, we would also have to make sure that in that case we can still copy and scan the material before giving it back. These are all the aspects that need to be considered upon writing the contract. Now, when it comes to data processing, the decryption of both file names and file extensions is rather challenging, especially if one thinks of the amount of data that we receive in some cases. For example, already mentioned Bernhard Lag and Klaus Lang handed us over their material mostly on hard drives. These two holdings consist of a large number of individual files, far more than 17,000 of them, with sometimes extremely cryptic file names and or abbreviations. The file names that you see on the slide can actually sound kind of funny in German. Some of you may understand it, but it turned out that the endings that you see, for example, this RR on the left side, actually stands for erledigt, which means done. And that is just one example. So after this decryption of the file names, the next step before indexing all of that is to figure out the different extensions, such as the ones depicted on the slide. These belong to, as we discovered, programs for music production, music notation, but also the predecessor of Microsoft Word. For the establishment of the holdings, we have three methods. Data conversion, which of course transfers data from one original form, paper or electronic, to another that is applicable for a particular use in a digital environment. Data migration, in data migration, data from an older system is converted to fit the data model of a current system, and the data is always updated and stored in a newer version. For example, Word from .doc to docx. And as third, data emulation, during which the program that no longer exists is recreated in the newer programs. For example, the aforementioned .wri can be opened via Word. All of these working steps have one thing in common. There is a risk of loss of information and the authenticity of the original. As we all know, paper may rot, hard drives become unreadable, server farms will eventually stop working, or the acclaimed digital cloud will eventually dissipate. And our colleague from the archive did some thinking and research on the topic of future storage media for long-term archiving. One possibility would be the project called Memory of Mankind. I don't know if someone of you already heard about it, which is being created in the Upper Austria in Hallstatt. Here, high-tech ceramics are being used to permanently store text and images. The information is immediately readable. Photos and illustrations are printed with ceramic colors in a resolution of 300 dpi, similar to a conventional color laser printer. A special ceramic microfilm has been developed for text and one-color graphics. Text is greatly reduced, but it's easily readable with a 10-fold magnification. On a panel ceramic microfilm, 20 times 20 centimeters fit about 1 million characters. So for more information, you can also visit the website. So now we are skipping them. And the University of Southampton and the Hitachi company has been working also on different idea, namely to use quartz glass as data storage. This 5-dimensional data storage was first demonstrated in the paper 2013, and standard size disk can store around 360 terabytes of data, with an estimated lifespan up to 13 billion years at a temperatures of 190 degrees. So when and if this technology will ever be available to broader public is still questionable.
So although one can hope and dream about future possibilities for archival work, we must make the best, of course, of what we have now at our disposal. And we are just using our peer system, an archival information system, in which our holdings are indexed. And we have, of course, besides our S3 boxes where we hold our analog material, virtual memory and digital material is stored with the help of virtual memory and the current capacity of 7 terabytes. So going back to the beginning, as we pointed out now, that problems or better speaking challenges can occur or arise, it should not diminish the fact that such a platform like the Archiv der Gegenwart can offer the composer and the work a broader public visibility and can lead to further interest in them and eventually to research regarding the composer and his music. Therefore, everyone could benefit from such platforms. So now we like to take this opportunity by speaking at this ICARUS convention, and this can and should be seen as the opportunity to spread the word about perhaps a possible cooperation involving creating digital archives or platform for contemporary composers all around Europe, not only in Graz, and especially from East and Southeastern Europe, as the current research covers mostly the Central European area. So the general idea of this project is to create a unique European network or platform for contemporary music, but additional focal points can also be individually agreed upon if there is, of course, interest in this. So Yeah, so we are aware that a lot of institutions don't have the capacity, but there are perhaps already established archives or libraries that runs on national or provincial level which can help provide the know-how potential storage space for such a project. So if any of you have interest in such kind of project, or if you know some institutions or individuals who might be interested, please approach us directly. We don't bite, so that's of course good. Or you can write us on these email addresses you can see on the slide. We are of course open for any kind of suggestions, and hopefully we can create something really awesome together. Thank you.
Thank you, Susanne and Jelena, for this presentation, which together with previous presentation of Jasenka, refreshing our meeting with some different approach despite the standard historiography and archival solutions, because it's some artistic musicology as we've seen a fine arts presentation.